Episode 25, our experience at the Bitcoin Ethereum Blockchain Super Conference.
Interested in Bitcoin?
Bitcoin is a very vague concept to a lot of people.
Need to know more about cryptocurrency?
We're going to talk about the basics. You know, this is something that people just have no idea about what crypto is.
How about buying, selling, and mining?
Tony, I think that's one of the things that's going to make us a little different from some other shows.
We're getting our hands dirty.
Then listen to Gary Leland and Tony Sakala, better known as the Crypto Cousins, on the Crypto Cousins podcast. This week's price.
Bitcoin, $11,540. That's up $2,975, which is 34.7% in the last 7 days. Howdy, howdy, howdy. Gary Leland here. Welcome to the Crypto Cousins.
And this is Tony Sakala.
Welcome to the show, everybody. Wow, Bitcoin's on the tear, Tony.
Yes, it really is. It feels like it isn't if you're thinking about it when it was 19,000, but compared to last week, it's on a tear.
It's on, well, you know, and if you look at it, you know, like if you use some type of pricing or app or charting app or whatever you want to call it, and you go like, it's funny, if you go like last 10 minutes it's up, last hour it's up, last day it's up, last week it's up, last month it's down, last 3 months it's up, last 6 months it's up, last year it's up, last 2 years is up. So everything except the month is up over the last previous point in time. So it's on that rise, and I think in about another 2 weeks, maybe that month price will even be up. So everything's up on a tear when you look at it, no matter how you look at it. But you're right. If you got in at 15,000, you're still not that excited maybe yet.
Yes. Like you said, it depends on how you look at it. And certainly a lot of the scaling is showing it's definitely up.
It's definitely. Well, we had Tony, it's kind of like feast or famine with you and me. We don't see each other for like 2 weeks. And all of a sudden, over the last 72 hours, it seems like we were together the entire time.
Yeah. Oh, boy. It was some weekend. The Bitcoin Ethereum Blockchain Super Conference was an amazing experience. It's a mouthful to say, but it's worth it. It's worth the effort because Richard did an amazing job.
But Tony, it was just it's a mouthful to say. And I think every time I did a video, I messed up saying it. It was such a mouthful to say.
Well, I'm sure Richard's very happy with the results. I mean, everybody seemed very happy. We interviewed a lot of people walking by and just got a lot of great feedback. I mean, what was not to like? He had the biggest names in crypto there. Some of the biggest names. I just insulted, a couple dozen crypto guys, but to have some of the biggest names in crypto there was really pretty big. You had McAfee, we had Ronnie Moaz, and I think the high point for me was meeting Lynn Oehlbrecht.
Let's get into that in a little bit. Before we get into that, I want to say I'm excited I got to see some of our cousins. Let's talk about our cousins first before we talk about who was the names at the event. We saw cousin Dennis Vasiliotis.
Now, that was fun.
Yeah, Dennis is, and matter of fact, what was real weird about it is Dennis is a high school or an elementary school buddy.
Wow.
I've probably known since 3rd grade and I haven't seen since 8th grade. And here, I go to a conference and I run into someone I haven't seen since 8th grade. And I ran into cousin Jerry Fox, who I haven't seen since high school. Now, what is the deal on that? I ran into 2 people from James Island, South Carolina, that I haven't seen in over 40 years at a conference.
That's a really big coincidence.
That was just crazy. And then cousin Eric, and I'm hoping I'm pronouncing your name right, Eric Pfaffenbach from Manti Crypto, who's one of our Patreons. We got to talk to him a lot. Eric's a good guy.
Yeah, it was great to meet Eric. I know you had met him before. It was the first time I got to meet him.
But yeah, we really, and while we're speaking about, since we're talking about Eric and the patrons, we want to thank all our supporters. We have a lot of Patreons now we're starting to get, which if you're interested in becoming a Patreon, go to cryptocousins.com/Patreon. Or there are other ways to help and support us. Go to cryptocousins.com/donate if you're interested in helping us on the show. But Tony, I'm still on this. I want to get us a show sponsor with this One Bitcoin per year. I think that this is perfect. I think there are a ton of people sitting on a ton of Bitcoin that may be interested in sponsoring us, having us mention at the beginning of the show, sponsored by Joe. I'd love to have a show sponsored by Joe. Sponsored by Frank. And Frank likes Bitcoin. That would be so cool. Instead of having some big company.
Oh, and there are a lot of Bitcoin millionaires out there. I'm sure that Joe would be happy to sponsor, or Bob, or even Alice might want to sponsor. We met some folks this weekend who were very interested in buying a lot of things. And if you just saw them, you might overlook them. They didn't have a three-piece suit on. Let's just put it that way.
I agree. I can tell you what, right now, anyone, if you go to a crypto conference, you can no longer use any traditional way of thinking in your mind when you meet someone. You cannot look at someone and think maybe how you might have thought before. You never know. I was amazed how many times I'd be talking to someone and they would go, well, how many of those could I get for a couple of Bitcoin? I'm going, oh, I wouldn't have thought you'd had any Bitcoin. Now you're like wanting to blow a couple on this. So, yeah, your whole way of thinking. So I want to make sure if you are sitting there and you're Joe, Sue, Ted, and you're sitting on a bunch of Bitcoin and you want us to help us and sponsor a show, we'll give you one episode per week per year for one Bitcoin. And if you want both episodes that we do per week, give us 2 Bitcoins. Or we can have 2 people give us 1 Bitcoin. I'd love to have Sue. This show is sponsored by Sue at the beginning, everyone. And then another one where Joe is a sponsor every week. I think that'd be so cool. I just think it'd be so cool instead of a company to have Joe or Sue or Ted or Alice or somebody as a sponsor, people instead of businesses. But I just think that would be so cool. So if anyone's interested, just send us an email at thecryptocousins.com or go to our website. There are a lot of ways to get in touch with us. Did you see this McAfee prediction tracker by any chance?
I didn't. I saw you had highlighted it, but I hadn't seen it.
Yeah, someone came up with, I guess, a chart showing where Bitcoin has to be every week to hit John McAfee's price. So you can go to it and see where Bitcoin's at and see if it's still on track to hit its price. But they charted it all up where it would have to be with the fact how it would multiply over time, grow faster and faster, whatever all that is. And you can actually see how much, if it's in the right place for Bitcoin to be $1 million. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Well, it was interesting to see him this weekend. He talked a little about that at his talk at the Bitcoin Ethereum Blockchain Super Conference.
And actually, Bitcoin needs to be today to be on track. It's pretty kind of neat. To be on track today, it needs to be $6,412.35.
Interesting.
And it's 11,000. So it's 78.76% ahead of what he predicted. So using his math, I guess going to 1 million in 2020 and working backwards from what it was when he made the statement, or going backwards to that time period. That's what it needs to be today to hit $1 million in 2020. So it's almost twice as far ahead, 78% ahead. So that's kind of a cute little thing, I thought. I mean, so far he's winning the bet big time.
That's, I think that McAfee's really one of the brightest guys that I've come across, because he's got this great perspective. He was a miner. He worked with Jihan Wu. He can see what's going into the mining community, what's going into the field, and people are spending hundreds of billions of dollars to mine Bitcoin. And that's one of the things that he points out, that if you have millions of people mining at the same time, this resource is very valuable, just because everyone thinks it is valuable and they're willing to expend the electricity. The electrical cost of each Bitcoin is calculated by McAfee, and he says that really that just tells you where the value is.
Right, exactly. And I'll have a link for this in the show notes on the website, cryptocousins.com. Yeah. So I'm just amazed that he's that far ahead of schedule on his prediction, to me. And then this other one, what you think about this? You have a chance. NVIDIA GTA4 series cards, they want to keep them away from miners.
Right. Yeah. I did look at that on tweaktown.com, that article. I think the guy was doing a little clickbait there.
You think so?
Yeah.
Well, if I'm buying any cards, I'm not telling anyone like Newegg or anything. I'm a minor.
Yeah, we've been down that road.
Yeah. We had a sale canceled that we think because of the address we sent it from. Because the sale was made, then it was canceled, and Tony's sale was made using his personal address, and it went through. So I don't know if it was just freak or not, but we're not taking a chance again. What do you think? And then this weekend in Dallas, if you happen to live here, there's the Blockchain and Cryptocurrency Conference. And if you do live here, we have a discount code for you. HOLY-50 will save you $50. I don't know if we make anything or not off that, Tony, but I know it saves them $50 if they go. So if they use it. And
we're happy to help out the cousins.
Yep, and all those links will be in the show notes. So let's get to a couple of messages real quick here, Tony, and then we can get into the meat and potatoes, as you'd say, of the show. I got a question from Cousin Troy. Let's listen to that real quick. Okay, Tony, what do you think?
Well, there is no easy answer because you do need to keep up with a lot of things. I spoke with a friend of mine. I bumped into somebody at the conference I hadn't seen in about 15 years. And he said he has 5 treasures.
Wow.
So I'm like, that's a lot of treasures to keep track of. I mean, you just number them, 1 through 5.
He's probably anal or he has a ton of crypto.
Yeah. So organizing stuff either in the real world or, in different wallets, there really is a lot to be concerned about. If you just have a few coins, sure, 1 or 2 treasures or treasure and a Ledger Nano S, which is the hard wallet I use, will be enough. But I don't really have a good answer. I like your strategy. You have your own dedicated laptop for your wallet.
I have that, and I have a treasure, and I have the things that I know I'm not, like my Bitcoin, I'm a hodler. I'm not really doing anything with that. I have that on my treasure. So things I don't plan on doing anything with anytime soon, I keep on my treasure. The things I do think I might trade or do something with, I have on my laptop with an Exodus wallet on that. And I only use that laptop, for anyone who's not familiar with what I do, that laptop, I bought, kind of cleaned up the software on it. All that's on it is the treasure. That's the only website is Exodus, the Exodus wallet. And that's really the only website it's ever been to is to download the Exodus wallet. And the only time it is ever on is if I'm making a transfer to or from the wallet. So it's a dedicated laptop just for that. But what I do, I have my treasure hidden in one place. I have my laptop hidden in another place. And then I have a small booklet. Actually, it's just one of those booklets they give you at a conference, people have on their tables. Just pages, a small little 10, 20-page little book, 3 by 5 or something. And I have all my information in that book. One page has my password and seed keys for my Treasure wallet. One page has it for my Exodus wallet. One page has my Coinbase information. One page. And everything's in that little booklet. And as I open a new account somewhere, I add it to that little book. And then I made an exact copy of that little book in another little book. And I keep one copy in my safety deposit box. So if my house was to burn down, I could still access a copy of everything. And then I have the original copy hidden in the third place in my house. I don't want to keep my wallet and my information in the same spot.
That sounds like a pretty, in-depth strategy, but it's relatively simple to keep track of.
It's easy to keep track of. It's all in one little booklet. Yeah. And I just made a copy, exact copy, just wrote it all down again and kept one in a safety deposit box. So the meat of it is I wrote it all down in one little book. As I use it, every time I set up a new account somewhere, I add that information to that little book, and that little book just has all my information, and that's the only place it is in the copy of my house and the copy of my safety deposit box. And then every time I do 4 or 5 things to the little book at the house, I have my wife bring home the one from the safety deposit because she's in the bank more often than I am, and I update it and have her put it back in the safety deposit box. So that's what I do.
So, I think that the challenge for most people, especially young folks, is everything is digital in their world. And the first thing people think of is, well, if you get the 20 words, well, let me just take a picture of it with my digital camera. But that's exactly the wrong thing to do, because as soon as you take that picture, it's going to the cloud. You've got your Google cloud photos, your Apple cloud, and who knows where it's going? But the bottom line is that picture of your 20 words is floating around the internet at this point. And maybe your ISP's got a copy now, and it's really dangerous. So you have to keep very low tech, write it with pen and ink on a piece of paper so that a digital copy isn't floating around on the internet.
I agree. Like I said, I write mine all down by hand. And Cousin Troy, thanks for the question. I hope that helps you a little bit. And anyone who's got a question or a comment, make sure and give us a call at 747-777-9471. That's 747-777-9471. We love getting comments and questions. And this week we have an email question from Roger D. Roger says, "Hey, cousins." Hey, Roger. I just got into learning cryptocurrency when I found your podcast on Spotify. I was hooked. Very cool. I listened to all of them in 2 days. Binge listening there, Tony. I was hoping to get a few links to get me started on getting a wallet on my PC. Also, I was wondering what trackers you use for lifetime numbers, whether it's a PC app or browser-based. Thanks, Roger D. Okay, so what wallets do you recommend for Roger?
So Roger said he's on a PC, is he? And
Yes.
I'm not a PC guy. I'm a Mac guy. And the only wallet that I really recommend for PC is the one that we talked about, the Exodus wallet.
Now, we use the Jax.
It's got a great user interface.
Now, we use the Jax a little bit, too.
Oh, really?
But it's kind of crazy.
We're all hoping that Jax gets a really good upgrade someday. Yeah, I open my Jax, and you've done it. You click, and it doesn't show the updated prices and the updated balances, and you have to quit it and start it over. And sometimes you type in you want to send $1 or $10, and then it says it's sending $1. It doesn't. If your wallet can't do regular math, like you were having that trouble, we were paying somebody trying to pay for some mining.
I think we were trying to
hosting.
send it $3, and they kept getting 30 cents.
Yeah, exactly.
And the two of us were doing it together, so I think between the two of us, we can figure out how to send $3.
We would hope.
Yeah. So you are right. Every time I go to the Jax wallet, it's like, okay, it says I got this amount in there. I'm going, wait a second, that's wrong. And then I have to update it, and it goes, oh, now it's got the right amount in there. So yeah. So I'm not really. I'm glad you said it, because while Jax works, I'm not real big on it. So I'm going to go with I use the Exodus, so I'm going to tell you that one, Cousin Troy, myself. I'm going to go with Roger, I'm going to go with that one, too, because that's the one I use now. I like, for tracking, and I did a whole show about this last week, because that's the second part of this question. I like the Delta app. I was using Bitcoin Ticker, but I like the Delta app, and we did a whole show about that, so if you haven't listened to that, Roger, have you checked that app out yet, Tony?
Yeah, I've checked it out. It looks really great. I think they give away so much. The free version is very, very capable.
Yeah, they do. You don't need the paid version. I think I just wanted to do the paid version because the people who have the paid version get the upgrades early before the people who have the free version. So I thought, since we're doing the show, it'd be nice to be able to get this a little early and tell people what's coming. I thought it was part of our job is to people are donating money, and that's what we use it for, is to give them $100 to get I paid them $100 a year to get the upgraded version, so we can tell you what's coming. So, and you're right. I don't think I'm using anything on this that I wouldn't have got paid on the free version.
And the other tracker you like, I mean, we all like it, is the Hodler app on iOS.
Yeah, I do like the Hodler app on iOS. And I assume there's one of those on Android, but I do like it because, all it really shows me when I go to it is I see all the prices. And it's really, and it's live.
It's live. It's quick. It's got a clean interface, and I like seeing it's very easy to use. I think that's the big challenge in crypto, is getting user experience folks in the field, getting them to work on how to simplify this stuff, because there's such a rush to launch that a lot of apps are really hard to use.
Yes, and actually I like it because, unlike the Delta app, you have to refresh the page to see the updated prices. On the Hodler app, HODL, it's automatically changing as the prices change. Yeah, it is that. And I like the color coding. I mean, you get to see a sea of green, a sea of red. You can just, before you even start reading, I like seeing the sea of green. I'm not into that sea of red.
blood red.
Yeah, I'm not into that. So let's get into the super conference now that we've gone over our regular stuff there. What was your favorite number one person you got to meet during the super conference?
Well, I think the most moving person for me was to meet Lynn Oehlbrecht, to have hear her story, and she's dedicating the rest of her life to free her son Ross. That kind of story can't help but touch your heart. A mom hoping to get her son out of prison, who's on a double life plus 40-year sentence. I don't understand how that's even possible.
Well, I felt for her when I was interviewing her. I almost actually was about to cry. I mean, just hearing her story. I mean, what parent, wouldn't be just heartbroken to have their child? And she admits she's not saying he's innocent and didn't deserve anything. She's not going, oh, this isn't the case. She's just saying 2 life sentences in 40 years when the biggest drug dealer on the site got 10 years.
Right.
That obviously she feels he was being made more an example of than being given a penalty for what was done wrong. And I think her thing was the judge said, I'm giving you the maximum sentence it is possible to give you to make an example. So she said, I'm lucky the death penalty was not in effect. Or she would have gotten the death penalty, but he might as well have gotten the death penalty. 2 life terms and 40 years in a maximum security prison. Said all this there are murderers and criminals, and her son a computer nerd. So, and I agree. I think he did break the law. He has a penalty to pay, but I'm starting to think he got a pretty a high penalty for what he did.
Well, this whole idea of making an example of somebody, I don't really understand what that's about, because really, if justice is about, to be fair, then everyone who does a particular action should get a particular sentence.
It should be the same across the board.
Across the board. I mean,
if you do this, you get the penalty. You don't get more of a penalty than someone else gets. Well, so they're taking it to the Supreme Court now, Tony. So they'll know within the next 2 years, I think is what she says. Within them, they'll know if they're going to listen to the case. So we'll find out how that goes, and we'll update when we find out more on that. But I did enjoy meeting her. She was very pleasant. I also enjoy I'm not sure who was my favorite, but I know I really enjoyed meeting Ronnie Moaz.
Ronnie's very forthright and shares a lot of information, and he's a really great guy.
Yeah, he came down and talked to us. He has a great charity. We're going to bring you the whole episode, the interview with him soon. But he's agreed to come on the show. Great guy. And then also John McAfee came down and spent some time with us.
It's funny meeting John because, he's his whole persona is he's such a badass. And, I thought for sure we were going to see, guys, big guys around him with rifles, and, that he was going to be very, very hard to reach. He was really personable with everyone. He was just visiting folks and he went down all around the conference, visited almost every booth, and stopped and did a pretty long interview with you at our booth, and just very generous with his time. I thought that was really a surprise for me, considering his more of a badass persona.
Well, I don't think he denied anyone a photo op. I mean, I saw him coming down the hallway. Janice, his wife, was, I saw him earlier that night before in they had a speakers event. And I saw him there, and I just went over and said, thanks for coming over. If you have time, please come to our booth. We'd like to talk to you. And Janice got up, got all the information, and said, we'll take care of it. Janice, I think, does a real good job of taking care of him. And then I see commotion down the end of the hallway, and it's John coming down the hallway. And it's like wherever John's walking is just a clog of people around him trying to get pictures with him. But he must take him 45 minutes to walk from one end of the hallway to the other. And it's a 2-minute walk. So, yeah, you're right. He took as many pictures with people as wanted his photo. He's very generous with his time. And that was pretty nice to see that he was that generous with his time. I've met people who were not near as wealthy or as big a names as him that were real a-holes with their time.
Exactly. And Janice, she's like, let me take the photo. She took my iPhone and she took a photo of us, a couple photos. And, I just really felt that they're really great people.
And I thought the lineup was really good. Speakers there. They did have an issue with Charlie Shrim, who was supposed to be there. And Charlie evidently didn't show up, and Charlie said he wasn't ever supposed to show up, that he knew nothing about it, and Richard says that he has the email documentation that he was supposed to show up. And I don't know 100%, Tony, but when we interviewed Charlie, I could have sworn we mentioned, hey, we'll see you at the event, and he said, yeah, see you there. But I could be wrong on that. But everybody else Richard said was going to be there, I think, was there, so I would have a feeling that Richard might be right on this. I don't know for sure, though.
Well, I think miscommunications are really hard to pin down because, somebody has an understanding of one thing and somebody has an understanding of another thing. And, we don't know if Charlie said, yeah, I'd be happy to come, send me the contract. And, Richard maybe assumed that he was going to come on his own dime, and maybe he was waiting for a contract to be signed. It's each individual speaker has their own relationship. And as you and I know, big name speaker is going to get a flight paid for and maybe get a stipend, honorarium, and everybody's different. So, one guy might get paid $10,000, another guy might get paid $30,000, another guy might just come out on his own dime because he's flying through town. So there's so many possibilities that that's just a real a touchy one. I'm not going to weigh in on either side. I have no idea what happened.
Well, I don't know what happened, but I do know this. Richard had enough big names there that I feel he didn't need to make up one. In my opinion, if you had no one coming,
right. Oh, right. He's not gonna. Yeah, no. I mean, I don't think anybody was gonna put a name on the roster, knowing that just sort of making it up. I mean, there definitely was a misunderstanding.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He had enough names; he didn't have to make up one and say, "Oh, I'm going to say Joe's coming too."
There was definitely some.
So I think it was more of both parties may think they're right, and neither one of them are. So I'm not saying anybody's wrong. I'm just saying I don't think anyone was out to get anybody. Is what I'm going with.
Deliberately, exactly.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So I had wanted to see Charlie though. So I was not there. We interviewed a ton of people. I don't know. It's going to take me weeks to edit all these people we interviewed. I know we interviewed Son of a Tech, who was you were familiar with. I was not familiar with him until he came by the booth, and I said, Tony wasn't at the booth when he came by, and I said, oh my gosh, Tony's going to know who you are. And Tony came walking up, and he's, hey, Son of a Tech. Tony knew who he was right away.
Yeah, it was really great to see him. He had been in town for visiting some other colleagues that he knows in the Metroplex, and he looked tired. He had been up late the night before. We had all put in long hours. The show was like, what was it, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. the first day at our booth?
Yeah, that's just the exhibit part of the show. Mm-hmm. That's not the conference. That's just the exhibits. I have never been to a show where the exhibits were 12 hours a day, and then you still had events at night, and then you had to drive to get there. So, I mean, they were long days.
They were really long days. It was definitely important to be wearing comfortable shoes.
I agree with that completely. I am trying to think. I had another thought in my head. I can't remember now about what I was going to say, but our booth. Our booth was terrible. Oh, when I first arrived, they had us sharing the table with another podcaster. Yeah, it was a table. It wasn't a booth. And I brought lights and camera equipment and all this stuff. And I'm going, if I have half a 6-foot table, that means I have 3 feet. And there's a table there. So someone would, actually, we had the camera on the table, and someone would have to stand at the end of the table to be interviewed.
Right.
All you see is their face. So I went and found the lady who was running the event for the hotel. And she understood completely, but when I was making a point, she moved us. And it was much better, but it still wasn't the best space in the world. But it was much better than half of a 6-foot table.
You run a show, or you're part of this biggest podcast exhibition on the planet. And you know how that can be with all the moving parts. Getting exhibitors in the right place is a real challenge. I run a wellness show for 23 years now. And I carry the measuring tape in my pocket because I know if you're an exhibitor and you've paid for a 10 by 10 space and the guy next to you is making his space 12 by 10, your space 8 by 10, it's not pretty. And it is challenging. That hotel, I have no idea how they fit us all in there. I don't think the hallways were really designed to be exhibit halls. but somehow Richard got it to work.
I think a lot of fire exits were blocked off.
I mean, I think that we were really lucky that we got the spot that we did. It was an amazing,
Ended up moving.
Ultimately, they were very kind and got us a really amazing spot that had been, let's just say, it was still available, and we had great lighting. Great flow. We were next to, where the water was being served, and so people came by and saw us and chatted with us, and it was really nice. It was really nice for us.
Yeah, we moved, and we got a great spot, and it worked perfect for us, and it was a great event, and so many people came by. And then we spoke about the Ethan. Well, actually, we spoke about mining, and we told people in our talk how to build their own version of the Ethan. You did that part, and you did a great job. And after it was over, oh my gosh, we both were flooded with people asking questions, and all your people were asking the tech questions, and all my people were going, "How do I get one?" Which we didn't. We didn't give the link to where to buy them or how much they were, because we weren't up there selling Ethans. We were telling people how to make their own Ethan.
Yeah, it is easy to get started with mining. It is easy to build a miner. We tell people just find an old gaming computer and plug it in, download the software. We give the links to where to get everything. And one father and son came over to the booth, and they were looking at buying an Ethan, and I told them the price. And I said, look, your son's in high school. I said, it's a great weekend project. Go to our website, download each of the parts, click on each of the parts. He had an Amazon Prime account, so he can get it shipped to him in 2 days. And I said, it'll be a great learning experience. And you can build everything, but the graphics cards. And then when the graphics cards become available in the next couple of weeks or months, or when you find something on Craigslist or eBay, then you have yourself a miner.
Yeah, and then you just go to turnkeymining.com and you'll find all the parts listed there. So it's we're sharing the information so you can build your own or you can buy ours if you don't want to put it together. But either way, I think people need to get into mining, and that's what we did, was say, here's how you build it. But it seemed to me more people might have wanted to buy them than wanted to build them.
Yes, I think people they don't want to spend the time learning, and I don't blame them. It does take a lot of time to learn, and maybe I'm sort of forgetting that building a computer, putting together a personal computer. Of course, when you've done dozens and dozens and dozens, it's easy. But the first time, trying to figure out which way the CPU fits in the CPU slot and how to put the graphics cards in correctly and what to wire up to what, and all those details can be a little daunting.
If you've never done it before, it certainly can be. So that's at turnkeymining.com. Also, I want to make sure everybody knows that Richard's going to do another conference in September. I think he's already rented the Dallas Convention Center. He's trying to do the world's largest crypto conference. He's saying he's hoping to have 5,000 to 10,000 people. So you can keep up with that at cryptocousins.com/super. That'll be our affiliate link for that. That probably directs them to the old conference right now, but as soon as the new conference information is there, that link will take you to the new conference. And that's cryptocousins.com/super. But that'll be amazing if he puts together that big. At least ways he'll have enough room this time.
Yeah, I mean, we're lucky because the Metroplex is centrally located in the country, and I think people do enjoy coming to Dallas. So it's going to be another wonderful show for us.
Yeah, it's luckily for us, it's here. So that's why we liked it a lot. We like not having to go anywhere because we don't have the money to pay for flights. Because we're not really. This is a free podcast. So unless something happens, then those donations start coming in better than they are. We aren't going to be flying to too many events, that's for sure. We definitely aren't going to the Acapulco one, that's for sure. Anything else about the show that we might have missed you think we ought to go over?
Well, I know our interviews are going to go live. Our YouTube interviews are going to go live soon. But just to give people a sort of a sneak preview, we interviewed folks from Shapeshift. And that was fun. That was interesting. We interviewed folks from Changelly. So both of those are amazing online apps that allow you to change your coin from one to another without going to an exchange. I thought those guys had a really great presence at the conference. And we also interviewed folks from EasyMine. That was a great connection. The EasyMine folks are creating a really smart operating system for people to manage their miners. And, I was excited about that. And we interviewed folks from Edge. The Edge folks just dropped a new wallet. It was like, 2 or 3 days before the show started, and we'll have that interview as well.
I guess we probably interviewed 25 people, 25 different companies. I mean, and all those will be at cryptocousins.com/YouTube. So if you want to check those out, I uploaded last night our talk that we did. So starting today or tomorrow, I'll be probably doing 1 or 2 of the interviews per day, putting them up. Or you can go to our Facebook group, just search Crypto Cousins. I'll also be putting them up there. I want to make sure everybody knows we have a great group. Make sure and join our group on Facebook. That's cryptocousins.com. Or Crypto Cousins. I saw the video. I watched the video uploaded of our talk, and it appeared that we had about 6 or 8 people in the audience. But I assure you, folks, that that was the side of the room farthest from the doors. The other half of the room. Just at that angle, it did. I didn't think about that, but it does look like there was about 50 people in the room.
Yeah, there were about 35 to 50 people in the room. But the other side was where the entrance and exit door were. So people just sat in and out. They want to sit.
You had to come across, and there wasn't an aisleway to get to the other side, so you had to actually walk by all the people. So, yeah, I should have put the camera at the other side to make it look really crowded.
Oh, yeah, it would have looked like we were 100 people in.
But it was really crowded over there, and I didn't want to put my tripod up over there by all those people. I was scared people would be standing in front of it. So, yeah, check out those videos. I think you'll enjoy it. Make sure and subscribe to us on your favorite listening device. You can subscribe at cryptocousins.com/subscribe. But if you go there, you'll see you can subscribe on iTunes, Android, anywhere. I mean, every way to subscribe to us is there. And please check out our donation page, cryptocousins.com/donate. Leave us a question at 747-777-9471. I mean, we appreciate everybody listening to the show. So, Tony, what do you got to say before we get out of here? Because we didn't even come close to 30 minutes again. I know I say that every week, but we never do. So, anything else, Tony?
That's it for me. Yeah, we'll see you guys next week.
See you guys next week.
Looking forward to it.
Thanks for listening. Tony, talk to you later.
Bye again.
Bye, everybody. Love you.
Thanks for listening to the Crypto Cousins podcast. Please share this podcast with anyone you know that is interested in cryptocurrency. Your friends can subscribe on iTunes at cryptocousins.com/iTunes and on Android at cryptocousins.com/play. If you want to know more about Tony or Gary, just go to tonysakala.com or garyleland.com. Make sure and join us on the next episode, and thanks for listening. The Crypto Cousins podcast and information in the podcast are not intended as investment advice. Cryptocurrencies are risky. Never invest more than you can afford to lose. Always seek professional advice before making any investment. Investing in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies may present tremendous risks. Please understand that you are using any and all information available on or through the Crypto Cousins podcast at your own risk.